As remember, SIPC. Investment products are not FDIC insured or not bank guaranteed and may lose value.
Newsmax TV. Everyone's talking about it. 30 million people are watching Newsmax for real news on President Trump, Biden, the election, and more. And make sure you vote in Newsmax's national poll asking if President Trump should concede. Just text VIRUS to 39747 and vote instantly. That's VIRUS to 39747. Watch Newsmax for great shows on major cable systems and free on Roku, YouTube, smart TVs, and more. Vote about Trump. Text VIRUS to 39747 today.
Balance of Nature's fruits and vegetables in a capsule, changing the world one life at a time.
Since I've been taking it, I can actually wear a pair of sandals because the pain sometimes would be so bad I would never wear a pair of sandals. Now I could drive the car with sandals. My feet don't hurt me. I used to go to bed at night and my feet used to keep me up all night long. No more. My feet haven't bothered me since I've been taking this. I could even walk barefoot, which I could never do before. I really feel great. I really, really do. I feel like I used to feel, you know?
Get a wide variety of all your daily recommended servings of whole fruits and vegetables without having to leave your home. Right now, Balance of Nature is offering free shipping and 35% off on any new preferred order. Call 1-800-2468-751 or go to balanceofnature.com and use discount code Chicago.
Stop supporting liberal agendas. AMAC is the fastest growing conservative 50-plus organization in America. Plus, when you join AMAC for just $16 a year, you gain access to a growing list of benefits, including car insurance and discounts on hotels, dental plans, and more. Join right now at PragerForAMAC.com or call 855-624-0163. That's PragerForAMAC.com or call 855-624-0163.
The holidays will be different this year. Also different is the way you're doing business. Adapting to the changes hasn't been easy, but never more important to succeed. The marketing team at Salem Surround gives you the tools needed to stand out and be visible to current and potential customers online right now looking for what you do. We can design a plan that targets potential customers with proven marketing strategies. Learn more at surroundchicago.com. That's surroundchicago.com. Connecting you with new customers.
When you're ready to buy a new home and want a mortgage lender who can help you plan with certainty, Rocket can. Need a lender who can help you understand all your mortgage options, get personalized loan options, closing costs, and tax estimates all in real time? Rocket can. Rocket Mortgage.
7:09. Worried about basement flooding? It's time to call Permaseal, 800-421-SEAL. Let's check the roads in the Team Hochberg Traffic Center with Jim.
On Chicago's north side, fire crews are active on southbound California Avenue at Elstead. There is some smoke in one of the buildings there, though the streets are open. Inbound Kennedy, traffic is slow. Harlem to Central, it's 22 minutes. O'Hare to downtown. Outbound, it's 20. Inbound Eisenhower delays are from 25th to Harlem and approaching the downtown area. It's a 32-minute trip, 390 to downtown. Inbound Stevenson now, delays kick in at Cicero, 31 minutes, 355 to Lakeshore Drive. Inbound Ryan, it's congested 18th into the Circle. It's an 18-minute drive time, 95th to downtown. I-57, 16 minutes, I-80 to the Merritt, Bishopport 13. Northbound Tri-State, the ramp to the outbound Ike is heavy. That's traffic. I'm Jim Talamonte on AM 560, The Answer.
Chicago's Morning Answer continues next. AM 560 Weather Center forecast. Cloudy, rain, and snow expected a little this morning, with a breezy condition expected for the afternoon and a high of 43. It's 33 right now. Next news at 7:30. Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan and Amy continues next on AM 560, The Answer.
From the Matrix Home Solutions Studios, this is Chicago's Morning Answer on AM 560, The Answer.
Listen to AM 560, The Answer, online at 560theanswer.com, on the AM 560 mobile app, on your Alexa-powered smart speaker, on TuneIn, iHeart, and radio.com. This is Chicago's Morning Answer.
Merry Christmas.
On AM 560.
Ho, ho, ho.
The Answer.
Oh, yeah, days away from Christmas. It's Friday. Christmas Eve is on Thursday. And that would make Wednesday the eve of Christmas Eve. Thank you very much. Amy Jacobson here. Sean from Elmwood Park and for Dan Croft. Are you there, Sean? Or are you still in the shower, Sean? Sean decided that it would be a good idea to go take a shower in between last segment and this segment. I'm not kidding you. And we're paying him, Justin, for this? All right. Well, while he towels himself off, I wanted to bring you some audio. Over the weekend, we learned that Hunter Biden is probably the smartest person that Joe Biden knows.
We have great confidence in our son. I am not concerned about any accusations been made against him. It's used to get to me. I think it's kind of foul play, but look, it is what it is, and he's a grown man. He is the smartest man I know. I mean, in a pure intellectual capacity, and as long as he's good, we're good.
As a father, I understand that, and I admire that. But I mean, in terms of your job as president, can you reach across the aisle to people who will be using this as an attack on you when it is such a personal attack because it's about family?
But if it benefits the country, yes, I really mean it.
And then went on to say, well, this was yesterday.
I am not concerned about any accusations been made against him. It's used to get to me. I think it's kind of foul play, but look, it is what it is.
And if you're wondering what it's going to be like under a President Joe Biden administration, his attorney general candidates are not going to be discussing anything at all about Hunter Biden.
He will not be discussing an investigation of his son with any attorney general candidates. He will not be discussing it with anyone he is considering for the role, and he will not be discussing it with a future attorney general. It will be up to the purview of a future attorney general in his administration to determine how to handle any investigation. As you know, U.S. attorneys are, that's a personnel decision. We're far from there at this point in the process, given we haven't announced yet an attorney general, a commerce secretary, a labor secretary, an education secretary. We have a few more to go, but we're going to allow the process to work how it should, which is for a Justice Department to be run independently by the attorney general at the top.
That's Jen Psaki. She is the White House press secretary for President-elect Joe Biden. With more on this, let's welcome back to the program Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano. He is vice president of the Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation and author of Wiki at War, Conflict in a Socially Networked World. Good morning, Lieutenant Colonel. How are you?
Hey, good to be with you, and Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you too, early. So what do you think about the mainstream media continues to ignore the Hunter Biden story?
Well, I was kind of gobsmacked listening to the interview you played when the interviewer is basically apologizing for a legitimate investigation and then saying, oh, this must be terrible for you personally. I don't remember any of those sensitivities with President Trump, where literally they attacked him and his family unrelentingly for 4 years, and now apparently we're all concerned about the president's sensitivity. The other thing I think, and it's just the observation I think everybody's made is, for Biden to be saying my son did nothing wrong, and also saying I have no idea about any of my son's business dealings. I mean, those two do not compute. One of those statements cannot be correct.
Right.
So I think we need a fair accounting. I don't know if he did anything wrong. I don't know if he did anything illegal. I don't know if there's any collusion there or not. But here's what we do know. We just had the case of the congressman where we have seen Chinese operatives intentionally try to ingratiate themselves with people of power and use that influence. So it's an extremely legitimate query. So, and I don't think that's up for dispute. Yet you already see the narrative is, oh, well, this is a political attack on Biden, right? So they've already chosen the answer to the question before we've actually done the investigation.
Yeah, and speaking of Swalwell, don't you think he should be forced to resign from the House Judiciary Committee?
Well, look,
because what they oversee the CIA. Just tell people what their role is.
Well, yeah, there's a couple of really important points there. One is this is not just another committee. This committee has access to the most sensitive intelligence in the U.S. government. So there's a level of responsibility and integrity in this committee that far exceeds virtually what any other member of Congress has. So that's a really, really high bar. They essentially provide oversight of not just the Central Intelligence Agency, but broadly of the intelligence community. And when we get that wrong, for example, during the Iraq War, when we got the weapons of mass destruction wrong, it's a big, big deal. So it's huge. And the second point I think is look, I know McCarthy. He is not a guy to just take partisan cheap shots just for the sake of taking partisan cheap shots. Mm-hmm. If he had a classified intelligence brief and he said, "This deeply concerns me," well, then I am deeply concerned. And I think the other point is the more, forget the classified intelligence brief, the more public information that's readily available, the congressman's explanation does not add up, and I think that raises very legitimate questions.
Now, also, speaking of the House Judiciary Committee, we learned on Friday that Cori Bush, the representative-elect out of Missouri, the first Black Lives Matter activist to serve in Congress, she's landed a high-profile job on the House Judiciary Committee. And she's a nurse, a single mom, and an ordained minister. Do you think she qualifies to be on that committee?
Well, look, the fact is that the Congress sets its own rules on who qualifies for committees or not. And, I've been doing this a really, really long time. If we could have endless discussions about whether people are qualified to be on committees or in committee leadership or not. But these are political decisions as much as they're competency decisions. But again, going back to your thing about the Intel Committee is really, really different. I mean, that is a committee where you should put politics aside. And look, let's be honest. The way that committee used its power to go after President Trump was incredibly partisan and inappropriate. So I think this House leadership has a lot to answer for. And to me, what's also not a very, very good signal is the Biden team has had nothing to say on this. They don't have any concerns. Apparently, they're not worried about this at all. I mean, and China is the foremost counterintelligence threat, the foremost economic threat, the foremost security threat to this country, and apparently that's not a big issue for them.
I've got a question for you. It's actually, to me, I think it's been completely corrupted. For instance, I don't think people understand the majority of these committees, these positions are bought. In fact, the politician has to buy it from the DNC or whatever party's in control. And they get to kind of let in who they want based on two factors, connections and money. So it's the old Chicago way. I'm majorly concerned about our foreign policy slipping back into all of the problems that we had 25 years ago. And I am obviously aware of how thirsty the military-industrial complex was to get back into the position of power. One of the things I thought Trump really was fantastic on was foreign policy. How long do you think it is before we're building up troops in areas none of us know or care about, and the military-industrial complex is printing trillions of dollars again?
Well, look, here's the problem with the Biden team is we just don't know. And we talked a lot about this before the election. Most Americans, honestly, they vote on domestic issues. There's a guy like my health care, what I want to do in health care, or my taxes. But the reality is we are voting for commander-in-chief. Whether you like it or not, you are. And the problem is, from my perspective, is Americans voted for Biden and have virtually no idea what a Biden foreign policy and national security presidency might look like. I don't know if I have any idea.
Oh, I think we do. He's been wrong for 50 years.
Well, it's filled with Obama people. I mean, so at one point you think it's Obama, 2.0, and you're right. I mean, if you look at Biden's very long track record in the Senate, he made a success, and as vice president, he made a successive series of very bad conclusions and recommendations on foreign policy. So, yeah, we go into this with a element of skepticism, and I agree with you. I think the foreign policy of the last 4 years was incredibly successful. The president, he didn't try to be the world's babysitter. He didn't try to be the world's policeman. But on the other hand, he never ran away from the responsibility to protect the interests and of American citizens, whether it was a captured person who was held hostage in the country, or whether it was somebody threatening American military personnel overseas, or whether it was somebody threatening an ally. This president stood strong. And I got to tell you, I mean, and this is not a Republican-Democrat thing. I'm not even a Republican. I think the foreign policy of the last 4 years was so instrumentally better than the 8 years before that. It's not even in the right ballpark. I actually think one of the strongest foreign policies that we've had in modern history.
And the reality is, a lot of that is due to domestic policies, particularly on oil, natural gas, and the energy, that has really kind of flipped it, where we put even Saudi Arabia in the back seat. As they are spending hundreds of millions, if not billions, in lobbying again, my question to you is, if Biden successfully usurps, and in my opinion becomes illegally the president of the United States, can we eventually pull it back, or is my only hope to stage a coup from South Florida in my shorts and tank top?
Well, I got to tell you this. Look, I actually think that this is time for Republicans in the Congress to stand up. I think that even in a minority status, and we'll see what happens in the Senate, if Republicans pull together and commit to strong policies, they can't block everything that Biden can do, but they can be a very, very powerful voice. And I think we're only 2 years away from midterms and elections of consequences. So I definitely don't think we should give up the ghost. And you will never get sound foreign and defense policies if we don't demand it from our leaders, or we don't pick a leader and support one that wants to do sensible things.
All right, Lieutenant Colonel, ABC News was reporting that there was a meeting in the Oval Office on Friday. President Trump wants to fight the results of the election, of course, and there was a possibility of appointing a special counsel to look into the election. He wanted Sidney Powell, but advisors told him, well, they talked him out of it. But also in the room was General Michael Flynn, and he, who was recently pardoned, obviously. And Flynn has been suggesting publicly that President Trump overturn the election by declaring martial law and bringing in the military to set up new elections in battleground states that the president lost. Is that really a possibility?
Well, first of all, I don't believe anything ABC reports.
Okay.
And we hear a lot of and this is a president who likes to get advice. He likes to get a lot of diverse advice, but he has a 4-year track record of doing what's in the best interest of the American people, and he also has a 4-year track record of respecting and following the laws written. And I think he will do that until the day he leaves office, whatever that day is.
All right. Sean, do you have any?
I do. I could talk to you for an hour, first of all, so forgive me if I...
You two can go out to lunch later.
The reality is, I believe we've been in a cold civil war for 20 years. I really do. I don't think it was the fault of any one party. I think it was the fault of a corrupt government. When we feel like we can't rely on law to be the shield against the usurpation of corrupt government, what is our responsibility as Americans? Because to me, I'm not kidding you. I'm hoping for states to secede, and I'm hoping that they fight back against what I think is a corrupt neo-Marxist Democrat mafia. 74 million people got robbed or are getting robbed. There has to be ramifications. Don't you think so?
Well, look, I think we have one of the most resilient constitutional systems in the world, and I would never let go of that system, because I don't think there's a better one out there. And we have a system that bends, but I don't think it breaks. And I think that relying on that system is the best hope for future peace and prosperity. So I guess I'm maybe a little more optimistic. I think in the end, the rule of law will triumph in this country, because this country has its bred into its DNA and won't accept anything else.
All right, Lieutenant Colonel James Carafano, thank you so much for joining us.
Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Vice President of the Catherine and Shelby Cullum Davis Institute for International Studies at the Heritage Foundation, and he joined us on our turnkey.pro answer line.
You're listening to Chicago's Morning Answer with Dan Proft and Amy Jacobson on AM 560. The Answer.
I'm Dan Proft.
And I'm Amy Jacobson. And if you're a small business owner, or you make the marketing or advertising decisions for a business, then listen up. Once again, our annual Food for the Poor campaign is underway to raise money to feed families in Latin America who are suffering because of the COVID-19 pandemic. Our friends at Food for the Poor are working with partners on the ground at feeding centers to provide emergency food relief. And here's how your business can be part of the solution.
Become a Food for the Poor business benefactor. Just make a $2,500 tax-deductible donation to Food for the Poor, and AM 560 will give you 40 60-second commercials to air here on AM 560 The Answer between 5 a.m. and 8 p.m. Monday to Friday at no additional cost to you.
To take advantage of this deal, just call Anjanette Natowski, 847-472-8951. Again, that's 847-472-8951, or go to 560theanswer.com/food for the poor.
Mike Gallagher here. You've heard me talk about my friends at Roland's Jewelers, located in downtown Libertyville. Roland's is a family-owned jeweler, and I believe in supporting small businesses this year more than ever. I love working with folks like Marley.